Welcome to edition 30, part 2 of the All Killa No Filla podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn, and Kiri Pritchard, McLean. Just before we start, I'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have a mutual interest in serial killers, and as long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
Episode 30, part 2.
It's hard, that.
Yeah, it was difficult, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fred and Rose. In fact, this is the first time we will be recording and releasing the same day because our schedule's been a bit mad, so we're trying to keep to releasing them every week. So, good morning, and I hope you'll be hearing us the same day.
It's afternoon now.
Oh, is it afternoon? Oh, jeez, I've got no idea what's going on.
20 to 1.
Oh, so in fact, you can do this. I walked on the way to Rachel's past. I walked past the horrible pub that I have to walk past to get here called the Alliance, which is just like everyone's 2 pints away from saying a racial slur.
Yeah.
And I think I've told you about this pub before. Outside at the moment, they're setting up an ice rink, but it looks like something from Chernobyl. It's like I'll put it on the Facebook group. It is the saddest little scene I've ever.
It looks a bit like something that the Make-A-Wish Foundation would do if the wish that people had was, can I die now? It's really depressing, isn't it?
It does look like some Bosnian scene. It looks really grim, and they've got those ones that if you're a kid you like lean against a polar bear when you go around. They've got those, but the polar bears have just got one eye and no hands and stuff. It just looks really sad. And they were getting arsy about me taking pictures. They were like, "Oh, you come back, don't just take pictures." It's like, yeah, I'll see you later.
You know for a fact that I will go on that. I'll be like, what's that rubbish? 3 pints. Yeah, let's get the ice rink. Let's get the frozen car park.
It is. It's just in the car park. So if you fancy it, you can go today. But you should listen to this first. So part 2, we're looking at Rose West.
Yes. We've told you about Fred, and now we're going to tell you about his missus,
Dozy Rosie.
Dozy Rosie. Rosemary Pauline Letts, and I can never say Pauline without wanting to do Mickey from The League of Gentlemen. Pauline. She was born in Northam in Devon, which apparently is a very nice seaside town, sort of countryside, a very nice place to have been brought up.
I've got a theory about all that leg that sticks out at the bottom of Britain, that it's just all scorched the earth. I think there's so much fucked up shit going there. And also that part, so Devon, and I might have said this before, God, that's my catchphrase, and Wales have the Guardian did a big sex study, and that the young people there had the most amount of sexual partners in Devon and Wales. It's because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I started smoking pot at 10.
It's nothing.
Because, what do you do?
It's my favourite part of the UK, though. The
Really?
Southwest, yeah. Love it. Love Cornwall. I will retire there one day.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's fucking weird. That's also where they send all the murderers. They send them to Anglesey, Norfolk or Cornwall. Or Norfolk, not Norwich. Because you don't pass through there. It's out on a limb.
Yeah,
Maxine Carr was in Cornwall. The boy, the Bulger killer was on Anglesey. And then they moved Maxine Carr up to Norfolk.
Oh, bloody hell, it's like an holiday camp, innit, prison? And
Well,
then
they
you
are.
get moved to holiday camp when you move out.
Well, they are all holiday destinations, aren't they? Like the Norfolk Broads and Anglesey is just full of caravans.
I've got a bit of I've never been to Norfolk. Got a bit of a thing about it, though. I'm a bit obsessed with it.
What?
I can't explain it, but whenever I see pictures of the Norfolk Broads, it's like I lived there in a past life.
Really?
I get a weird feeling.
Have you just watched too much Alan Partridge?
Yeah, probably. But I do get, I get a weird sort of sensation.
No, I've got no desire to go there.
I think it looks really depressing. And
I think I have been there when I went to... Do you remember I talked about doing that weird period ritual?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was in
That
Norfolk. Yeah, it was Dance Camp East I went to. And that was in... And it was amazing there. I mean, it was really hot.
That sounds like a camp that no one's coming back from.
No, when they have dance camps, they have Dance Camp Wales, Dance Camp East, Dance Camp West, all over the place. And it is literally just smoking weed and weaving baskets. It's exactly what you'd expect.
Oh,
but it was quite cool.
Is it? Yeah. That's I like it though. I think it's a nice area.
You've never been?
I know, but I've just got this romantic idea in my head.
But what's romantic about it? They're known for fucking each other, and it's exactly like Devon. They're never incest and
sort of East Anglia, that kind of area.
Don't get it.
I'm really into M.R. James stories, and they're all set there, so that's part of it.
All right,
but I don't know. I just find it quite a bit creepy yet romantic.
Maybe. Do you like Whitby?
I do. I think I love Whitby, but whenever I go, I'm always like, it's not as good as I remember.
Full of goths.
I actually went on goth weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, by accident. I was gigging in somewhere in Yorkshire, and the next day I wasn't gigging, so I was like, oh, we'll go to Whitby. Didn't realise it was goth weekend.
Is it called that?
Yeah, I think it's just called goth weekend. They were quite cool. It was all right.
A good chippy in Whitby.
Oh.
And one of my things on my Christmas list, which no one will get me, every year, here we go. Every year, what do you want for Christmas? Well, I'm not going to tell you because I just write a list that you promptly ignore. So I give them a list of all the things I want that I deliberately don't buy for myself, that I either can't justify or can't get asked to buy. They ignore that, and then they'll get me like, here's a copper wall hanging of some comedy and tragedy masks. Which my dad was saying today. I love my dad so much, but he's over at my house at the moment, and he was like, oh, I've been trying to find them anywhere. Oh, I can't find it. I said, what? He said, well, for you, I wanted to get a wall hanging copper comedy and tragedy masks. And I was like, I think I've got loads of stuff to hang on my walls, but it's very sweet. And he thought, just because I thought you were in showbiz. So cute, isn't he?
That is very nice.
It's very sweet, but I would have to hide it.
Someone who wasn't sweet, what a link,
Hey.
was Rose. Her birthday, she was born 29th of November 1953. I said that like, if you want to send her a card. She was the fifth child of William Bill Letts, so Bill Letts, and Daisy Gwendolyn Fuller. Yeah,
Bill was schizophrenic, ex-Navy, and Daisy had chronic depression, which she was treated with. She was hospitalised in 1953. Which is obviously the year that Rose was born, and during that time she was given ECT, and they're like, we don't know what effect it had on Rose. I'd say quite a lot.
Yeah,
it just electrocuted a woman, and while she had a baby inside her, it's not going to have repercussions.
They do think, a lot of people think, and I think it's pretty obvious, that it gave Rose some prenatal injuries, the electric shock therapy, and they used to call her Dozy Rosie for many reasons. She was always staring into space. Wasn't very with it, a little bit slow, a bit backward. She used to sit and rock back and forth, didn't she? Even as a baby, when she was in a buggy, if they hadn't put the brake on, she would rock in the trolley and move it along.
You've never used the word, you called it a buggy and then a trolley. She did have a pram, just for the record.
That's a good, it's a pram, innit?
Yeah, it's a pram. It's not a fucking trolley.
Mind
you, they were poor.
I don't come into contact with children, I don't. No, do I? Pram, buggy.
Baby car.
Yeah, baby thing, whatever.
Yeah, she used to rock it across the room, and she didn't really grow out of that. Apparently when she was older, when she was a toddler, she'd just rock her head, and she would do it till they said she sort of hypnotised herself.
Yeah.
Which just sounds like, well, that's a kid with brain damage.
Yeah, I just like the way that they've all just gone, oh, it's just something she did. Nobody got it checked out. Nobody really was asked, I don't think. But Bill, as kids, they weren't really allowed out much. They were allowed in the backyard. They weren't really allowed to play out with other children. Bill sort of employed, because he was in the Navy, he employed all the sort of regimented team to the household. So the kids would be they'd have to eat the breakfast at a certain time. If they stayed in bed too late, they'd get water tipped over them, wouldn't they? Yeah,
he was quite violent, and he would look for reasons to beat them. So if they slept in, he'd throw a bucket of cold water over them, which is just
never
awful.
Did me any harm.
Yeah, but he was also like this, whilst being sort of military and very, like you say, rigid and Victorian, he was also, the family was really poor because he could never hold down jobs. He was unskilled, so he's sort of working through low-paid, unskilled jobs. So all right, Dad, well, you get your shit in order, and then you can tell me what time to get up at. And he'd make them do pointless things, like if he's punished them, he would make them dig over the whole garden. Maybe that's where Rose got the passion for it from. And he would inspect it all, and if he wasn't happy with it, he would make them do it all again. Which seems also utterly pointless.
Yeah, it's pointless.
I hate those pointless jobs.
It's just it's control, isn't it?
Yeah, when you see programs where the army are cleaning stuff with a toothbrush, and you're like, that's a fucking waste of time.
Yeah.
Make them knit some mosquito nets for someone with malaria. Make them do something useful.
He also he had fits of rage all the time. They used to come out of nowhere. Mm. So there was an incident where Rose, was she making a birthday cake for him or something? Or her mum was making
it's Daisy, because he was really violent towards Daisy as well. So basically he would beat the kids, usually with a belt or a chunk of wood, and then it would get till they were black and blue, and then when it got to a certain point, Daisy would step in and take the beating for them. But one day she was like, oh, it's your father's birthday. And she sent, I think, was it one of the kids out to get eggs for the cake? Because that was like the one ingredient that she needed. And it was like, your father will be back in a minute. And when they came back, just shit was everywhere, like the flour and, everything was all over the place and the plates were all smashed up.
She'd been battered
She'd been battered and was like, there's going to be no cake today. So obviously he'd have flipped out it might have been because the cake wasn't ready, it might have been, who knows. He wasn't well, was he? He had schizophrenia. Not that necessarily everyone with schizophrenia is violent. But...
Well, he wasn't on any medication.
No.
He wasn't detected. It's only with hindsight that people have gone, oh, that's maybe what was wrong with him. The other thing that he used to do, it was probably a horrible house to grow up in. He wasn't just physically abusing them, he was sexually abusing the girls. Yeah. So Rosie's older sisters, who couldn't wait to get out of the house and move on, they were being abused. Rose was being abused. She sort of learnt how to pander to her father in a way, didn't she?
Yeah, she's quite smart in that sense. So she's got 3 big sisters and a boy, and Andrew, a brother. And what she would do is she would make sure as soon as her dad came in, she would give him a cup of tea, and she would go and sit with him and ask him how his day was. And she realised that if she kissed his ass, she wouldn't get beaten as much.
Yeah.
But I think there's something. I don't know. I think there's something more going on.
Well, Rose, as she gets a bit older, when she started to hit puberty,
very pretty apparently.
Yeah,
Dozy Rosie.
She became obsessed with the body developing, and she used to parade around naked, in particular in front of her younger brothers. It went a bit further because she used to bath them as well, and she was also touching them inappropriately.
Wanking them off,
thank you very much. I'd like to touch you inappropriately. And Graham, one of her younger brothers, she'd protect them from sort of the father's beatings, so she would intervene. And she became quite protective of them. She'd also stay in the same bed as them. And this progressed a bit further. Graham, she used to say it.
Wank him off.
Thank you. She used to touch him inappropriately. And it sort of later develops into an actual sexual relationship.
Ugh.
Yeah.
See, I think... I don't know. So she was bullied at school for her weight. And she would fight back, fair play to her. Mm-hmm. So she got this reputation because she was she's a little bit chubby in school, and kids are fucking cruel, so they used to bully her for that. And she got this reputation as being sort of an aggressive loner. And so she used to knock about on her own. And when her brothers got bullied at school, she would weigh in, wouldn't she?
Yes, she would. Which is just like Fred's mother, actually. When you
think
about
Daisy.
It. She had no problem with kicking off with other kids at the school and sort of protecting her brothers. She also used to play with dolls when she was a bit too old to, which we were chatting about this, I'd say. In public, 11.
Yeah. What about behind closed doors?
Whenever you want. You can continue to play with dolls, should you wish to.
I mean, you can get some quite expensive ones, can't you?
Very, very lifelike.
Oh, God, have you seen them? I must have spoken about this before, but there's a documentary I'm obsessed with on there. And basically, they have to send them off to this place to have them fixed. And they basically just have to replace their vagina and their teeth because they get rodded out by some. And it's really funny. Like there's one, well, not funny. It's kind of tragic. There's one guy who looks like Cat from Red Dwarf, who has this one that he's deeply in love with, and he really carefully packs her onto like a swivel chair, and is like, "Goodbye, my darling. We won't be away very long," and really loves his doll. And there's another guy, they go to his house, and they're just everywhere. There's like 8 of them, like one's like folded up under a sofa. They're all dressed like, you know how like a man would dress a woman?
Yeah.
So everything's see-through, fishnet, shawl, everything's hanging out. So you've got these sort of like dead-eyed women that look really realistic staring up at the ceiling with like their tits hanging out and like their vagina on show. And like and the guy who fixes them is equally creepy. He's sort of giving an interview while all these sort of rubber dolls are suspended behind him, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, she's nice. I'll have a go on her." And it's like, you can't. I was like, you can't do that. That's not part of the rules.
It's not yours.
It isn't yours. You don't. It doesn't. It's like sending it to the pet, like the vet, and he's like, "This is a nice dog. I'm going to take it home for a week."
You can't do that. Also, I just imagine he spends all his time like cleaning out crust.
Yeah.
And yeah. Ugh. if someone said to you, right, imagine your perfect man, I can't give you that, but I can make a doll that's really realistic and it does move and it's just like the real thing, would you do it?
No.
That's fine.
There's a thing called, the Uncanny Valley.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so about like how we like things that look human, like, which is like, we like Henry the Hoover, but until it gets to a point where it's uncanny and then that it drops off on our, the graph of how much we like it just falls through the floor because I don't like it, too realistic.
Yeah, it's too creepy.
Yeah. So I don't think I would like whatever Ewan McGregor.
Oh, God, you fancy Ewan McGregor?
Oh, I'd have a go.
Not in a million years.
What?
No way.
Fuck off, man. Why? Because he's ginger?
No, I like ginger people. I just think he's a turn-off.
Really?
Massively.
What?
Like...
Oh, we're going to fall out, yeah.
I don't know, there's just something about him that I just
He's in my top 5.
Really?
Yeah, I've got shocking taste, though.
This is me you're talking to.
Oh, Liam Frey for the Cortinas is in there as well, and I think he's a piece of shit. But he's fit. I've got terrible taste in men.
I mean, Ewan McGregor's... Yeah, I can see why people...
Great in Moulin Rouge, great in Train Spotting.
I just find him... Whenever I see him, I'm like, oh, it's you.
Really?
I don't know what it is. It's just... Nope.
That's interesting.
Just a no from me.
Have you got a top 5?
Of course I have.
Is it all just people you know, though?
Well, I have 2 separate top 5. I have the official top 5. And I also, as well, I actually got to cop off with someone who was on my...
Really?
My top 5.
Are you allowed to say who it is?
Yeah, I went out with him.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't... It was like, shit, you're on my list.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And number 3 on that list.
3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I think that's the highest anyone will ever go.
They're off it now, may I stress. But at the time I was like...
I reckon I know 2 of yours.
Go
Liam
on.
Gallagher, Danny Dyer.
Yeah.
Oh, good guess,
Yeah.
that.
And...
George Osborne?
Yeah, can I just stress, I can't help it. I'm so sorry. And I'm not a Tory.
Look at her judging me for fucking Ewan McGregor, who works for UNICEF. Like, oh no, it's your turn off. I'm sorry if you're kicking people out of the council houses. Whee!
Kicking him out of the wheelchair. I think he's physically attractive. And who else? Who else should we pop on that list? I think that's it, actually. Is that
That's 3.
That's 3. I'll come back to that.
Right, we'll have a think. Anyway, God, we shouldn't really, when we're talking about horrific
No,
sex
we
crimes,
shouldn't.
wander off and go, who
Anyway,
do you
she used
fuck?
to wank off her brother. Oh, dear. Dear me.
You know who I'd like to pull off in a bath? Awful.
Oh, right.
God.
Anyway, so she was playing with dolls. That's how we got onto this.
Yes, that's what it was, dolls.
When she was a bit too old, and she was very childish and babyish, a lot of people described her as.
But then also ultra-sexual, wandering around naked,
Yes.
obsessed with her own body. Her dad as well forbade her. Is that the right word?
Forbade.
Forbade. It sounds like it is. Forbidded her? No, it's definitely
Forbidded
forbade. From having dating any guys her own age, but all that did was just sent her out to seek out older men who are going to with a 15-year-old girl who's kind of sexually active and sexually self-assured. They're not going to be the good guys who are like, I'm just going to run you home. Like they're going to do worse things than any 50-year-old boy would dare to do.
Definitely. And at this point they'd moved to a place called Bishop's Cleeve, which is nearer to Gloucester, just outside Gloucester. And it was at this point where her older sister, Glenys, had married a chap called Jim.
Yeah.
And they were running a mobile cafe on a lay-by. Now, I
love a mobile cafe.
Do you?
When you turn up to my village in Wales, there's one there, and it's been there. It was called Sweaty Betty's for years. Colloquially, I think it was just called Betty's, and it has. It's so funny. I think it's called Mamma Mia's, and then it has a French flag flying from it because they're not the brightest people in the world.
Mamma Mia's,
and it's got a French flag flapping
and it
above
serves German food.
I think it just serves burgers and chips.
Oh man, I'm a bit funny about those kind of places.
Oh really?
Yeah.
My dad knows the good ones because he was a long distance lorry driver, so he'll know them like hidden under a bridge. And
He'll
like,
know
this place is great.
the sort of Weatherby services of the snack bar world.
Yeah. But there's some that are hidden, like biker ones that are sort of hidden out the way. You have to come off the road. They're not just on the side.
And then you go down to them. And
you go down to them, and they're quite good, those ones. The portions are insane. I've never been somewhere where you're like, oh, you get the whole pie. Like if you like, oh, I'll have a slice of this, please. And they'll just bring the pie over. But it's sometimes it's good to have
getting
stuff like that.
Getting hungry now.
Yeah.
My stomach's going to rumble. Only had a piece of cheese on toast.
Really?
Yeah.
What, you on rations, mate?
No.
A bit of powdered egg?
Powdered egg, and then we're going to have some spam in a bit. Minty. At this cafe, though, when Glenys was heavily pregnant with her child, Rose went to work at the roadside cafe. Now, she wasn't just making food for people. She was getting off with a lot of the punters, wasn't she?
Yes, well, because she boasted that she had managed to up the what's it called, the takings of the place. But you just wonder how she was doing it.
Yes, so she was several occasions where they came to check on the thing, and Rose would be getting out of a vehicle dishevelled and clearly, had been at it.
And she's only like 15, isn't she, at this point?
Yeah.
So she's banging like lorry drivers, giving them hand shandies in the back of their thing. But her excuse is amazing. She was like, I just run out of baps or sausages. And you're like, well, you're not going to find them in the back of a Leyland Daff, are you?
She tried it on with Jim. Glenys' husband as well. This is where Rose moves out. Some say that Jim turned her down and wasn't into it. Some people say that Rose's mother caught them in bed together, and this is why Rose moved out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Rose did try it on. She was having multiple relationships though. She was seeing loads of blokes.
And they were always much, much older. That was one of the things that was said about her, because she was really young. You know what I always think about this with Fred and Rose both banging their way around that bit of England, because apparently the people who were working doing that road up used to go in and see Rose and have sex with her. So many people must secretly hold the story, I fucked Fred West or Rose West, but they're just keeping it to themselves.
Can't say anything.
And you like, I don't think I'd ever fuck anyone from like Bristol or Gloucester or Hereford or anywhere down there, because chances are they're the offspring of someone who's fucked Rose West or Fred West.
Too close, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit.
Yeah, it's a strange part of the country. I mean, if you do live there, some of it's very nice, but it is a bit weird.
My parents want to move back there, which I mean,
do they?
Yeah, I mean that says all sorts, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So mid 1969, Rose moves back home, leaves Daisy with her sister Glenys, and everyone was really shocked because they're like, "Why is she moving back in with this schizophrenic who beats her?" And then that's when the rumours started that there was more to Rose and Bill's relationship than just father-daughter.
Yep, that's
fucking
true.
in that.
And this, not to give a spoiler, this relationship between them carries on throughout.
Yes.
Up until...
I'd say the rumours are correct based on what we find out later on.
I would agree. But she meets Fred.
Well, there's rumours also generally about Bill being molesting young girls.
Yes.
And I think he'd been...
I think there was...
He'd been not prosecuted for it, but I think charges have been... I don't think he'd been prosecuted for it, but I think charges have been brought against him molesting young girls in the area. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that he then molests his most affectionate child. God, what a grim life. Just people like this, it's like, what else is she going to do? Obviously she's going to murder a load of people. It's just shit, their lives.
And obviously, if you think this is bad, she's at a bus stop. Stop getting buses. And meets Fred. And this was in... Have we got the date for them meeting?
Well, it was November 29th, 1968, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, at this point, she's still only 15, and she's 12, and Fred's 12 years older than her. He approached her at the bus stop, and he was talking to her. She said he had green teeth, he stank, but he was utterly charming.
So weird.
All right, Hugh McGregor comes up to you. He's got bad breath and green teeth.
I think he was getting ready for a part.
You know he's not getting ready for a part. And he stinks.
Stinks of what?
Like bad breath. Like his teeth are rotting.
Oh, I don't think I could do it.
It's your only chance.
Oh, it really smells. Like what does it smell of? Because if it's just morning breath, I've kissed people with I've got the worst breath in the world in the morning.
No,
maybe I'm a descendant of them.
It's like he's got gingivitis that won't shift.
Oh fuck no! Of course not. Of course I'm not bringing my face anywhere near his.
Like he's had pustules on his tonsils and they've burst.
No, of course not.
But he's up for it, and it's you just.
I suppose you wouldn't have to kiss him, would you? But then if his mouth smells like that, what does his dick smell like?
I've heard that he loves a snog, And he won't go any further until he's had a passionate kiss.
No, I'll be like, sorry, I'm like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. I don't kiss on the mouth. It's too intimate.
But his bits are clean.
Then I'll go to town on his bits.
All right, he's got rancid bits.
Stop! No,
clean mouth.
Stop trying to make me fuck Ewan McGregor, who's rotting.
All right, well.
Oh yeah, make out like I'm the fussy one.
I'll just text him and let him know.
All right, Liam Gallagher wanders. I mean, his teeth. All right, Liam Gallagher's teeth before they had them fixed.
No, Noel Gallagher.
Oh, it's Noel.
Liam's
Yeah.
always had lovely teeth.
Oh, here we go. No, right. Liam Gallagher's got green teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like there's things scuttling about them.
Okay.
And he looks like, that's a man who's got a pocket full of fingers and toes. He's cut off people. You don't know what his bits are like.
But it's still Liam.
It's still Liam.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You need help. That's awful.
Can he still sing?
No, he can't sing now.
Oh, he can. I'm not going to have this conversation. It's like I'm his PA. He doesn't even know I exist. Imagine me working for him. I'd be pregnant within a week. Anyway, Fred. I can't believe we've digressed again here. At the time, this is really awful. He was hanging around approaching young girls anyway, because if you remember, he was living in his caravan with Charmaine and Anna Marie, his daughter, and it was an absolute state. He was going around approaching young girls in the area to say, would you like to come to my caravan and look after my kids? Yeah,
well, but just before, so he's been approaching women for an awful long while, because there was a time where, I think it was January 1968, when that Mary Bassam went missing, who we mentioned last time, where Rose and the others stopped going out because they were worried about being abducted, and they thought that this abduction was linked to a load of rapes in the area, which they think is Fred West. Yeah. So she went, she lasted about 2 weeks, and then she started going out banging old guys again.
Yeah.
In fact, one of which raped her. So... she has not got a great experience with men.
Not really. Fred, when these girls came to the caravan, once the girls were in bed, he used to see how far he could push it. So he'd be explaining to them, I can do abortions, so don't worry.
That's not sexy talk.
No, it's not. All right, Ewan McGregor comes up to you, right? And he's clean and his teeth are fine. But he says to you, he lives in a caravan that's really dirty. He's got no kids. But he also says...
Of course he's not, he can do abortions.
He says, I can do abortions. And
I'd be like, is that what you've been doing?
Can I take a picture of your bits with my Polaroid camera?
I'd let him do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and also fair. If it's like he's been doing abortions out in third world countries in a safe fashion...
It's just girls that he's met at bus stops, mate. This is still Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor hasn't got a bus for about 20 years, I reckon.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised.
I've never seen a famous person on the bus. I've seen them on the tube, but I've never seen a famous person on the bus.
I once thought I saw Kirsty Walk from Newsnight on the bus coming up here.
As if.
And I was just texting my mate. I was like, Kirsty... And then I realised, it's my doctor. What an idiot.
Also, why did your doctor get in the bus? Oh, I thought you meant a mega bus.
No, like...
I was like, fucking hell, she can afford a train, surely.
Yeah, general bus. Anyway, so it's very unpleasant saying to these young girls all this stuff. He used to say to them as well, I know how much money you could make on the streets of Cheltenham.
That's a promise, isn't it?
Yeah. But when he meets Rose, he chats to her on the bus, and she doesn't particularly like him at first, but then she finds him quite charming. And the next day, she's working in a bakery at the time. He rocks up to the bakery, has a box, gives her a box, and in the box is a fur coat and a silk dress.
I think that's quite romantic.
But old-fashioned at the time, though. It was old-fashioned clothes.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, like...
Oh, yeah, I don't know, in the 60s.
But it wasn't... It was...
was it so, like...
It was
older.
Clothes
from, like, the 40s?
Yeah, so it was like... So right. She's... I'll be honest with you, that would give me the creeps.
Would you? I'd think...
Right, Ewan McGregor turns up at your gig. The fur coat and a silk dress.
I'd probably not get my size. I'm very difficult to buy for.
But from the 80s, and not even cool in a vintage way.
Well, no, I would be like, no, thank you. Or I'd wear it if we went back to his house, but not.
Okay. It's like I know something, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it? Like, I'm going to walk out and he's going to be stood in your kitchen with a silk dress and a thing, shaking his head, and you're like, I tried. What'd I say? Brush your fucking teeth, Ewan.
Oh, dear.
Ewan's my dad's name as well, so that's a bit weird.
Yeah, that is a bit... So, when she received this gift, he then said, I'll take you for a drink tonight.
Do you not think I'm sorry to go back, I think that's quite a grand gesture. I think, like, if a guy turned up with, like, actually, no, that's a bit fucking 50 Shades
Oh,
controlling,
hello, I just met you on the bus.
Here's a dress, put this on. Actually, yeah, take it back.
It's creepy, isn't it? It's creepy. Even for then, it's creepy.
And you think it's from girls he killed, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's either nicked it or he's killed somebody and just taken their clothing. That's got to be a given, because he's definitely killed more than we know of. They went to a pub called the Swallow.
Oh, gross.
He had half a shandy because he didn't drink really. He never got drunk. Didn't drink alcohol. He used to like watching other people get drunk though.
You hate people like that, don't you?
I cannot fucking stand those people. They are the worst people.
Really?
Yeah, they're the worst. Like, oh no, I don't drink, but I'll just come out and judge everybody else.
I don't drink a lot of the time when I go out.
Yeah, but you're not one of those people that sits there and goes, huh, look at them all drunk. It's those people.
True, yeah.
Stay at home. You know fun.
Yeah, or where you're like, oh, you're going to come to a pint? And they're like, oh, will so-and-so be drunk? Probably. They're probably just having a nice time.
Well, I just can't put myself in that position again.
Yeah.
What if they say something funny that I take the wrong way?
This is a lot of backstory to this, isn't there?
Coming out here, isn't it? Anyway, so he did drink. She had half.
What if they say something funny that I take the wrong way? What have you said to someone?
I can't. Well, God, I don't know. Plenty of things. So she had this half-sided. She actually, a bit later on, she used to drink Malibu and Coke.
Goodness.
It hadn't been invented at the time. But she also liked Bacardi and Coke.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, she also used to like West Indian men,
She did.
so maybe she had a taste for all things.
Yeah, exactly. Fred at the time had told her pretty much everything and a little bit more. He said that he had been married. He was still married, but his wife had left him. He said he told her about all his conquests when he was on this date, about women that he'd slept with and things like that. It said that he spent 6 months at sea as a deckhand.
No way. Deckhand also sounds like something else. Rose has been giving people a deckhand in the back of a lorry.
He said that he got oil from Amsterdam and brought it back to Gloucester. Now, Gloucester obviously
brought oil to Gloucester. That's the kind of mad claims he's making.
It is a plausible thing because Gloucester has a docks area, doesn't it? Quite a busy, famous docks area. But there's no way that the timeline doesn't allow for this.
Gloucester has a dock. It's not on the coast, is it?
No, it's got
the river. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a famous.
Is it the Severn? The River Severn.
I think so. Yeah. He said he went to Jamaica for bananas and oranges.
No, that's such horseshit.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Make it a pineapple.
Yeah, he doesn't even look like this kind of person who has a passport.
No, there's no way that he did any of this.
Maybe he's the reason you're not allowed to smile on passports.
Yeah. It's all these like bold claims and tall tales, and I think she probably knew that he was bullshitting a little bit, but probably enjoyed his company. Now, Rose had originally arranged to go for this drink with Fred, so she could meet him to return the dress and the coat, because she had no intention at that time of embarking on a relationship with him, because she didn't know anything about him. She didn't.
Other than he stunk.
She wasn't particularly interested, and she was given the coat and the thing back for that reason, and also because her parents would not be happy.
Bill flipped out when he found out that they were sort of seeing each other. He hated Fred and said he was an unsuitable partner. And in fact, she was 15, he phoned social services and tried to get them involved, and they were like, "That's not really anything that we can do here." She was for a bit. She was in care, but she used to abscond so much.
Yeah, because she was 15. She was a little bit, because she was a bit older than everyone else in there, and she would just run away and go to Fred and be with him in his caravan. But their second date was quite interesting. They went to a pub called the Odessa, which we've looked it up. It's got a Facebook page.
Yeah, which seems quite grim.
They went and had a drink there, and they had a kiss that was very intense by a 5-bar gate. And
she's probably drunk off the fumes coming off his tea.
Fred said it was very intense. He said we can virtually read each other's minds at times. She was enamoured with him. I think you can easily, if you're that thick and perverse, there's only 3 things going through either of their minds. Can I fuck it? Can I cook it? Can I fight it?
That's it. Of course you can read each other's minds, because it's going to be one of those three things.
She wanted to keep the gate as a memento. Because it was that, like...
Pick a flower!
Yeah, there and then she wanted to keep the gate.
Fucking hell.
I want that.
Have you ever kept anything weird from stuff?
What, from relationships?
Yeah. Imagine if there's just, like, a cupboard full of bags of
semen.
Say,
open the freezer.
No, I mean, like, weird little quirky memento. I think mine are all quite normal. It's cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've kept photographs and travel tickets, holiday stuff. I also... I don't think I should be saying this. I did keep someone's T-shirt.
Was it a good T-shirt?
No.
Oh, really? Was it the smell of them?
No, it just reminds me of that person, and I just kept it. I might...
Are they dead?
No.
No, I think it's all
Sadly
right.
not.
If they're dead,
still lurking
right.
around. No, he's still, they're still alive. But I just kept it because...
Do they know you've got it?
Did he fuck? Part of me was like, I could throw that out. And I was like, but I just feel a bit sad throwing it out. I'll just keep it. Still got it.
Where'd you keep it?
Can't say that.
Under a floorboard?
No, it's on there. It's on the clothes rail.
Oh my god, our friend Will, who composed the theme tune for this podcast. So when he was in school, a girl in his class wrote him a love letter, but obviously had help from an older friend, a sister, so it was quite sexual in nature. So he was about 9 when he got this, and he used to carry it around with him, and it got all tattered, and he used to hide it under a bit of carpet in his room, and it got all tattered, so he thought, well, I'll just copy it out. And so he copied the letter out, so he still had another copy of it. And then his dad saw it one day and was like, what's this? And basically found a sexual letter to his son in his son's handwriting. And there's like no way to explain away that, is there?
What did he say?
He just didn't say anything. And he was also telling me a story about how, so this little bit of carpet he used to lift up and keep things under. A girl in his class, say it was Rachel came over to him and was like, here's my phone number, we're going to play together, so my dad said to give you the phone number. So, but Will just took it as a little boy as a phone number, that is, and hid it under his carpet. And his dad came into his room, he was like, I saw Rachel's dad, she said that he'd given you her number. And he was like, yep. Knowing that it's stashed under the carpet in the corner of his room. He's like, can I have it? And he's like, yeah, I'll bring it down in a minute. And he's like, just give it me now. And then so Will had to walk over to the corner of his room, pull up the carpet, take the number out, put it back down and walk over to his dad, who just sort of silently left the room.
Oh, that's the saddest thing.
It's really bleak, isn't it? I especially love the idea of just a really sexual letter in your child's handwriting to itself.
The problem is, I'm imagining Will as he is now because I can't imagine Will as a child, so I imagine all this
Can't imagine a bald kid, can you?
Yeah. Just having to upturn that carpet.
Yeah, it's just, oh God, so grim. Knowing as well, as soon as your parents just give it me now, you're like, I'm going to have to do it.
I'll tell you, the best thing relationship-wise that you know when you want to high-five yourself? When I was at school, I fancied this particular boy, one of the Liam Gallagher boys, of course, and he had no interest in me whatsoever, and I adored him all the way through school.
What does he do now, do you know?
I know exactly what he does now. Because about 4 or 5 years ago, he got in contact with me on Facebook out of the blue. He was like, would you like to go for a drink? I was like, yeah, I would actually. Went for a drink. Successful. And never saw him again.
Doesn't matter. It's in the bank now, isn't it?
He's my friend on Facebook and he lives in Australia now. He went to see the Stone Roses the other day. I only know because it popped up on my timeline.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, I just wanted to go back in time and say to 14-year-old me, don't worry.
Yeah.
One day.
Bide your time.
Yeah.
I think the reverse happened. I bagged all the people I wasn't entitled to get when I was young because I was so confident. And now I'm like, oh God, please don't let them see me now.
Do you have Fred's confidence? Is that what you were doing? Were you rocking around?
Oh my God, so confident, yeah. And I've always been able to, I think, punch 2 points above what I am, looks-wise, because of funny girl in it and confident. So I think I would definitely had, and also I think my type is guys with low self-esteem. So I just zone in on them, and I'm like, guys, I've got enough esteem for both of us.
Let's go to the Odessa. When this happens, though, this gets a bit weird, because Fred then reveals that a couple of years later they went back to the gate.
Oh, yeah.
And Rose was very upset to learn that it had been taken away and burst into tears and was heartbroken. He also used to take her to different 5-bar gates, tie her to them and whip her.
At her request.
I
don't know where all this is going on, because I can't even, sneak something in my neighbour's skip without getting caught, let alone take me to a 5-bar gate and whip me naked and then make love to me. Is there just no one around, or, I don't think there's anywhere you could go where you wouldn't get caught doing something. Actually, maybe where I'm from in the countryside, there's places.
Or maybe it's in those days, I mean, it was a while ago, so people would be driving through, there weren't many cars on the roads. Maybe people were driving around the country roads and going, these country folk, what are they like?
Oh, probably, actually, yeah.
But as you said, Bill hated Fred. Probably jealous.
Yeah, we think he was jealous.
Fred, at the time, was in and out of prison, and when she was old enough, 16, she immediately left her parents, left Bill, and went to live with Fred.
Yeah, which, Bill hated, because he tried to get the social services involved, and they didn't want to do anything, so he went and he physically threatened Fred in his trailer. That sounds like a movie star, Caravan.
Yeah.
In his caravan, and threatened him, but it didn't work. And then when... they tried to break them up loads of times, but it didn't work at all. While Fred was in prison, Rose moved back in with Bill, and Bill found out about the baby and wasn't happy, so kicked her out.
And at the time, Fred is using the care system like it's a babysitter.
Yeah.
Because Charmaine and Anna Marie he's like, all right, I'm off to prison. These are my kids.
Yeah.
And then getting them out when he comes out of
prison.
Rose
moves back into the house, so takes Charmaine and Anna Marie out of care.
She does. And then they move to 25 Midland Road.
Yes.
Another 25.
And in 1970, she has Heather. So that's their first kid together. And she really started to resent Rena's kids and was treating them really badly. The poor kids just had a really shit time of it, didn't they? Yeah. Especially Charmaine. There's lots of letters at the time when Fred is in prison. There's lots of letters between them that you can, if you read Happy Like Murderers, which is a great book, you can see them in there. They're just weird letters, and it's all stuff like referring to the family's family of love. With, their family of love.
Really old sort of style tattoo pictures on. Fred was keeping himself busy in prison because he was making a horse and caravan from matchsticks. Apparently it was very good.
Just buy him some more matchsticks then. Do you know what I mean? If he's found his thing.
Encourage that.
Yeah. I want to see a Spitfire by Christmas, Fred.
All right, okay.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I think he was just... Maybe he could have pushed that energy in a different direction. He wouldn't have had to kill so many people.
There's one of the letters is where Rose says to Fred about Charmaine, she likes to be handled rough, but I don't see why I should be the one to do it. Now, that was my smoke alarm.
Was it?
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I think it's in the kitchen.
Oh, brilliant. We're going to burn to death. Is that Ewan McGregor having a cig in there because he's depressed that I won't fuck him?
This was one of the letters that was used as maybe evidence to say that she did kill Charmaine. I don't see anything particularly incriminating in that sentence. I just think it's a badly worded letter that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But she did kill Charmaine.
Summer of 1971, Charmaine goes missing. So she told Anna Marie, Charmaine's half-sister, Rena, your mum, just came and got her one night. Which I think is an extra pang of cruelness, because you're a little girl that's like, oh, my mum came and got my sister but didn't want me.
Yeah.
I just think that was really horrible. Then Anna Marie was saying that she was getting more and more violent, and she said when she lost her temper, she became a maniac of Rose. So Fred was in jail during the time Charmaine went missing.
Yeah.
So that means it has to have been Rose.
It has to have been Rose. And the other thing, Charmaine as well, who took the worst of the abuse, really. She decided she'd sort of become so defiant about it that she would refuse to cry. And this made Rose even...
That wind her up even more.
But
they think that Fred was involved in the crime of burying her.
Because it has all his hallmarks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
the kneecaps and some of the fingers were missing.
And toes.
Toes. They also think that the body was moved as well. So he buried her in the coal... was it the coal pit? I'm not sure what one of those is.
Coal scullery bit. Which is where you keep your coal, isn't it? Come on, mate.
I don't know.
You're not allowed fires in Manchester, that's why.
No,
because you fucked it all in the Industrial Revolution.
We're not allowed anything like that now.
Can't have nice things.
So, the theory is that Fred came out of prison, buried Charmaine, and then she was reburied under the kitchen, under some concrete, when there was some work going on, which is just really awful.
Oh, poor kid.
And nobody questions this. It's like, even the school that the little girl was at, just like, she's gone away, she's gone to live with her mum. All right, okay. The other one was, she had a friend who lived upstairs, a little girl that she'd been playing with, and one day the little girl went down to see Charmaine, and she was just told, she's gone back to Scotland to live with her mum.
Mad.
And nobody raised any questions.
But I think that kind of thing could happen nowadays, where they're just like, if it was quite a transient family anyway.
Yeah.
Ugh. So, but Fred kind of used it. He knew that Rosie killed her.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, when he got back and had to move the body. And he used this. He now had something on Rose. Mm-hmm. Charmaine was gone, and Rose knew she'd killed her. So Fred had that on her. So once you'd be like, I can't live with you any longer. And he's like, well, I'm going to tell the police that you killed Charmaine.
And they had a blazing row, didn't they?
Huge, where Bill turned up to take Rose away, in fact.
Yeah. And the quote from Rose is, you don't know what he's capable of. What was it? He'd do anything.
So Fred was shouting, come on, Rose, you know what we've got between us, as sort of a threat, as in, I know. And Rose said to Bill, was like, come on, come away. And Rose said to Bill, you don't know him. There's nothing he wouldn't do, even murder.
Oh. Yeah, it's like proper EastEnders cliffhanger, isn't it?
Yeah. So they're in Midland Road at this point, and Gloucester has quite a big West Indian population. Rose is a prostitute by this time, acting outside of her house. From her house.
Actively encouraged by Fred, he really enjoyed this. He was in and out of prison. He was encouraging her to sleep with men and tell him all about it.
Yeah.
When he wasn't in prison, he drilled holes into the walls of the house so he could look through the walls to see what she was doing with other men.
Jesus.
Yeah, and she did...
Fred... What's that smell drafting through that little hole? Nothing, it's definitely not Fred's teeth. But the whole thing about the West Indian thing is quite a lot. She had quite a lot of customers from this West Indian population, and she would have sex with them sometimes for money. And Fred would want to watch. He had a thing about black guys, didn't he?
He thought black guys were superior. He thought they were sort of the pinnacle of like sexual. That's what a man should be. He had a real fascination with them. He had a real fascination with collecting their spunk as well.
Jesus.
And
try stamps.
I know.
Don't go straight to spunk.
Mixing it.
Beanie Babies. Anything.
Beanie Babies. Mixing it with his own. And yeah, he went through a whole phase of like trying to get Rose pregnant by a black guy, which did happen later on because they had children. She did have children with some of her clients, which Fred brought up as his own.
That's quite progressive.
Very, yeah. He did call them... We'll get to this, though. We'll get to this. But he used to also take semen from some of the clients and rub it on his own penis to stop him ejaculating prematurely.
I think that is a weird... just think of something else.
Yeah.
That, don't... I think that was to help him ejaculate and not to stop him. I think that's a fetish. I don't think that's... why are you rubbing someone else's spunk on your cock? I don't want to do it, mate, but this is... If you don't want me to come straight away, then this is where we are. I literally think that's a huge lie. Oh, God, if there were any other way... Yeah. I was going to say, normally people think of their mum, but that wouldn't fucking work with him, would it? Straight off the end.
Straight away.
But apparently he wasn't, again, they keep saying he's not interested in usual sex. He would insist on vibrators and lesbianism and he'd be like, that is normal sex, guys. Yeah. But I guess in the 70s. He'd take erotic photos of Rose as well. Didn't he have a thing about her and a bull?
Yeah,
This makes me sick.
He also wanted, one of his big fantasies was to see Rose have sex with an actual live bull.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. And impossible. I've not tried. That sounded
I don't
like
think
I
it's
tried.
impossible. I don't think it's impossible.
No, I do.
And I'm saying that too sure for someone who's raised on a farm. But I bet there's pornography. You know, the only thing I was thinking is like you'd have to have something to brace the weight because the weight would crush her.
Ugh, no.
I bet there's pornography where there's a woman being fucked by a bull. If donkeys can do it,
I think it'd kill you.
Look, the dick.
Yeah.
It's not that big.
No.
I think horses' dicks are probably bigger.
Oh god, yeah, I've seen those. They're horrible.
And also, like, if Rose is quite busy, imagine she's not doing a cage-girl exercise. I imagine there's room for manoeuvre in there, shall we say?
Well, this is pretty grim, and I'm going to tell you this now. It's not nothing that I've done. Don't worry. I really don't want my mum to listen to this episode. There's this thing that, oh god, what Rose used to do when she was in the car with Fred. She would lower herself onto the gear stick.
What, and change gears? It's quite a party trick, isn't it?
It's quite a party trick, but just...
But I can't, like... I understand why she might be doing it. There was also a girl who had the nickname something gear stick from back home because she, I think, either sat on one or put her ass on it. That's so bad because I don't even really remember her name and I'm just perpetuating this rumour about this poor girl. I don't get the logistics because I presume it's stationary or because it's quite impressive if she sort of sat there changing gear.
Oh, I'm assuming it's stationary.
That's a bit pointless then, isn't it?
Well, all I can imagine is Fred going, well, get off that stick, Rose, I'm trying to drive.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, how'd you claim on an insurance? What happened? Well, my hand slipped off the gear knob. And why was that? Well, because my clinically damaged partner
my
decided
16-year-old wife.
Yeah, my 16-year-old wife had decided to pop herself on top like a terrifying pencil topper.
It's utterly
I mean,
right.
they'll do any accessory on cars. They'll put eyelashes on it, fluffy dice, fluffy steering wheels. Maybe you could get a Rosemary West little thing to go on top of your gear stick.
Homely young bride gear stick topper. Ugh, disgusting. But this is all going on, and it's weird.
He loves his Polaroid camera, doesn't he? Taking pictures of Rose, sending them off into magazines, advertising her as sort of a swinger.
What I do love is that you said he'd started to take erotic photographs of Rose. I don't think Fred could ever do anything erotic. This is a man who eats an onion like it's an apple. Yeah. I don't think there's any sensuality.
Doesn't he have like a raw iron thing above the
bed?
He actually made... It was in Cromwell though, wasn't it?
Yeah. He actually made the sign outside 25 Cromwell Street, the address thing. He was very good at metalwork.
Metalwork, matchsticks, keep him on that.
He was very good, very good. He had a real talent for it. He also made a sign... We'll get to this bit later when we talk about it, but I have to tell you now. It is Christmas after all. There was a sign above his and Rosie's bed in Cromwell Street, and it was a metal sign, all done in metalwork by Fred, and it just said cunt. That was it.
I don't know. This is the kind of thing I expect to see on girls. You know, like they go back to someone's cool flat and there's the word cunt above and fairy lights above the bed.
Yeah,
It's a great word though, cunt.
Oh, it's a great word. And if people start whinging, I don't like people using the word cunt, it's offensive. That's the whole point of it, it's meant to be fucking offensive. You use that word because you're meant to offend somebody.
Yeah.
I think I do use that word a bit too much, so it's lost its power, especially in...
I think it's all about intention, innit? So sometimes you can be like, oh, don't be a cunt about it. But then you'd be like, you know what, mate, you're a fucking cunt. Yeah. And then, like, you know, they really mean it. I think it's all about intention.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All these words.
I do like it when people use it as a term of endearment as well.
Come here, you old cunt.
Oh, you stupid cunt, what are you doing? Yeah. You're such a cunt, aren't you? So that's what was going on. They moved to 25 Cromwell Street, to a bigger house. The house which most of the awful, horrible things happening.
Yeah. Just before this, though, August 1971, Rena comes down to pick her girls up. Realises Charmaine is missing and actually meets with Fred's dad, Walter, and says, where's Charmaine gone? And she can't find out. So this gets back to Fred, and Fred's like, oh shit, I'm going to have to deal with Rena. I'm going to have to kill her. So that's it. They think that he got Rena drunk, invited her over, strangled her, and then dismembered her, put her in a suitcase and buried her near where they buried Anne McFall. and it has this classic Fred West, no fingers, no toes, no kneecaps. Ooh. So that's it. Rena's dead, Charmaine's dead, Anna's dead, and they haven't really even stopped. And that 5-year-old boy's dead, and they've not really got going yet.
I know. They're not even on to the second wedding anniversary. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Depressing. She's still only about 17, 18.
This is like when you realise that the Virgin Mary was like 13 when it all happened. Yeah. You're like, what the fuck?
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So that's it. Next time we will, which is out on Christmas Day, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll record it this week.
Christmas Day. We will tell you everything else that happened.
We're going to do the crimes, the trial, which will be very brief, and what happened afterwards, because Rose has been busy. There's a whole section on the Daily Mirror dedicated to what she's up to.
Yeah, she's always up to something, isn't she?
Yeah. Thank you so much for chatting away to us. It's such a laugh on Facebook and Twitter. We love it. Yeah. It looks like we're going to be doing, based on what people have said, definitely do live shows. We've already got one in Leicester in February, but we're definitely going to do live shows in London, probably Brighton, Liverpool, Leeds and Newcastle. Look like the ones that we're going to be heading to. So if you know of a great venue that you like going to, that is cool, that would let us come along, just give us a shout, give us a tweet if you can recommend anyone, and we'll see if we can make it happen.
We need to say thank you as well to everyone that sent us any if anyone knows a speech therapist, can you send me the number? Anyone that sent us a message, it's been great. Emma Williams, we'd like to thank especially. Yeah, you've done us a blinding logo.
It's so good.
That we love, and we really appreciate it. Another Williams as well. You'll like this, actually, Kiri. A good friend of mine, Joe Williams, has an update on an orthopaedic shoe for you.
Go on. One of our mates has got a built-up shoe.
She has, as we found out last week.
Comedian Nina Gilligan. And I was trying my best not to ask her loads of questions about it.
She's got rickets as well.
Rickets? What year is it?
I know. Victorian, like a Victorian child. So my friend Jo Williams says that she was listening to the podcast and laughed a lot when she heard Kiri talking about corrective shoes. When she came, she lived in Australia for a while, Jo, and when she came back, she worked at a hospital, Thameside Hospital, in the orthotic department. That's horrible to say. Makes your mouth go dry. And she can confirm that some of the corrective shoes have to be specially ordered and made, but the other ones, you can take your own shoes in. So you could have a pair of Reeboks with massive soles. What you do, they send them off, and the warehouse cuts the sole and puts extra height in. Then you glue the original sole back onto them. You usually only get one pair made to order a year, up to 2, she thinks, altered shoes that you brought yourself. A woman once brought a pair of stilettos in, stiletto slingbacks, and they were saying, "Are these your everyday shoes?" And she said yes. And Jo says, "Lying cow." So there we go. It's nice to have this information.
It's great. And we've had a couple of people message us as well that who are from the travelling community, who said the word gypsy isn't offensive. So there we go, guys. Let's go wild with that. I'm only joking. But also, it's fascinating because it represents 3 groups of people. Mm-hmm. So it's great. It's really exciting that we've got such diverse listeners.
Yep.
And so knowledgeable.
And it was nice that somebody did say they're pretty sure that word that I mentioned last time, that
really made me feel. We can say the word in context. So when we were talking about the word packy, which is obviously a horrendous word over here, and you were going, "Oh, my ex used to use it when he came over here because in Australia it's not a big thing." And then this Australian was like, "Mate, it is offensive.
Actually,
He's just a prick." So funny. And also, thank you for correcting us. They do have patios in America.
Yes, they do.
So I think everything else has been quite neutral. I think you will have followed.
I just thought Australians, because they do tend to shorten everything, like words, the lives of backpackers. Been dying to do that. Thank you very much.
So this is part 2 of All Killa and Filla. You're going to be listening to the same day, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
Because we've won absolutely mad shit again. So, yes, we shall speak to you soon. If you want to chat about anything, Facebook, Twitter is the way to get us. And we'll see you in a week's time, Christmas Day.
Crimbo.
Where we're going to be talking about a load of horrific crimes. So don't eat too much Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
And we'll speak to you soon. Bye.